If I take my pencil and I measure from the 25 feet of the ceiling all the way down to the floor, it's pretty much my whole pencil. So when I measure out here, I'm going to come clear off the page. So 25 feet out here, along this vanishing line, this is the edge of this is the floor of my room, right? So I'm laying my pencil there. I laid it here and pinched it at the floor, and then I'm swinging it down. I'm putting my pencil on my table, or my finger on my table right there. Then I'm going to go horizontally right across there. Back into my page. I'm going to make a mark on my page right here. And a horizontal line across, knowing that's 25 feet. Is my line horizontal? No, look how I wandered up. So I'm going to change that. Looking now at the bottom of my page, making it better. This is going to be 25 feet. And this puppy's got to go. So take the 25 to the floor, pinch your pencil, swing it out along the floor line, put a finger on your desk, move it to the horizontal, and draw the horizontal across your page at 25. Now, if I imagine where this line comes and this line comes right here, I can put my finger back here, or I can just take this pencil and I can swing it up towards that corner, right? So I know I'm coming through here. It gives me a line to shoot to when I'm coming out of this corner to make an X that divides that room. I need to find this corner over here. Take my pencil from this corner to where I think that corner is going to head. Looks like about right here. I'm going to head from this corner over to that spot. Probably in between those two lines I just did. I'm going to say it's that one. Now I've got an X, which is halfway through the room. I'm going to draw a horizontal line through that. Here I'm going to cheat again because I'm sketching. Instead of 25, I'm going to say that's 24 because this is going to give me nice even numbers. This is going to be 24. This is going to be half 24, which is 12, right? I'm going to go from my vanishing point through this center line here. Now, it's true, I fudged it right here, right? I made this 25, 24. As long as I do this British flag across the floor, at least things are going to collapse as they go back in the distance. I'm going to be okay. I sort of forgive myself for being a little bit sketchy there because I'm sketching. If I draw an X through any box, right, then I'm finding the center of it. So these two should connect in a horizontal line, which is going to be, what, 18? Yeah. Good thing I'm not a math major. Huh? I know what half of 12 is. That's 6. I've got 6, 12, 18, and 24 marked off in my room. Each one should be getting just a little bit smaller as it goes back. Okay, the desks in the room are about 2 feet by 3 feet. They're about 2 feet deep and 3 feet wide, and they're just about 3 feet tall because they're sort of like a countertop in your house, right? As you think about those desks as you're standing up to them, they're about waist height, are they not? So let's figure their height is going to be 3 foot high. Let's come to this 3 foot line here. Let's draw a line right across there. And I do see in the picture that the desk comes just barely up above the windowsill. So it looks like that's a pretty good height line for my desks. I'm going to start my first row of desks up against this back wall, and I see that there's 4 rows of desks, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to have 2 desks on this side of the middle, and I want to have 2 desks on this side of the middle. So it might help me to actually take these lines here out so that I can judge how I'm doing. Looks like I'm bending a little bit. Those lines aren't very accurate. So I can judge where those desks are going to sit. I only want to come 2 feet. I need to get a footprint done back here, right? So if I say that I'm going to come, let's put a desk in here from 10 to 12. I know this is 15. I kind of don't want to do that. I kind of want to go. The first desk sits right here, doesn't it? Against that window, just about that wide. I'm going to come down here to the floor and I'm going to measure. So I'm going to say if this is 11, I'm going to go 9 here. So I want this to come out about 2. I'm also looking at proportions. See, I'm looking at the height to width proportion here from here to the floor. I'm looking to see if that looks like about the right portion to the end of the desk. I then can bring that desk out into the room this way and this way. I can come from my vanishing point from each of the legs and from the top corners of that desk. I want to make a footprint, so I'm going to come out here. It's not 6 feet, it's half of that, isn't it? I said they were about 3 feet deep. So I'm going to come halfway between here and there, and that's all I'm going to come out for the footprint of my first desk. So this is going to come up here and meet this vanishing line here. This leg is going to come down further along there, and this is going to be flat horizontal here until it meets this vanishing line here. And this is going to drop down to the floor like that. First desk. That's the box that the desk was shipped in. I'm going to draw a line across where I drew that front of that desk on the floor so I can get a row of desks set up from here to the window. I want 3 more desks. So in order to put a desk in front of it, I'm going to look at this window right here. I'm going to say there's a desk right here. This is where it would touch the wall. I want it to drop down to the floor right here and here. I want it to come out into the room like this. So my footprint is right here. This line comes up till it hits a line coming away from vanishing point. It should line up with this line here as well, so I'm going to bring it down just a little bit so I get the same width on each desk. Coming away from vanishing point here to get the top of that desk. And these should line up here too. There's the box for the second desk. My third desk is going to be on the other side of the vanishing point, so I'm going to come along this line over here, and I'm going to put a third desk along here. If you need to go along here and put lines every 2 feet so that you get these all equidistant. That's fine. I can kind of just go along here. I'm checking that vanishing point and that vanishing point and coming out along here to wherever this hits, and then I'm going to come up to that line. These should line up here. Looks like I'm not really vertical on those. I could do better. And desk number 3 looks like it's a little too wide, so I'm going to skinny it up just a little bit. I'm going to bring it in because that's going to show up as I get further out in my drawing, and I don't want it to be out of proportion. So I'm changing my box just a little bit to meet my expectations or to meet my proportion. And my 4th desk is going to be back here. Let me check my photograph one more time. I want a 4th desk to be the same height as these. And I come back here, come down to the floor. And then away from the vanishing point. Figuring out the footprint. And I notice that I'm seeing more of the side of this desk than I am of this desk because this is closer to my station point, closer to where I'm standing, so I'm seeing less of the inside of the desk that's close to me than I am of the desk that's over here in the room. That's a good setup for the room. One thing that happens back here that I haven't drawn in yet is that this soffit also hangs over on the side. So this, as it comes away from the vanishing point here, does this. So this would be the wall coming down here. And then this is the soffit overhanging here. And then this goes back up and overhangs right here. So that we get, instead of this corner back over there, we get this corner coming up from this point right here.
Okay.
Right? And that's going to happen over here too. So I'm going to get an overhanging soffit here. Right? And then this line is going to have to come in to this corner. And if I go back to my photograph, yep, I can see this corner doing this, and this line actually then goes towards vanishing point or away from vanishing point up here. And I see the window then overlapping that, coming into like that. So this corner now is more accurate as to what I'm seeing in the photograph.
Okay.
Thanks for asking that. That helps me to get some more detail. And those are the kind of details we like to see, right? So this is the line I want to come up here instead of this line here. There's a window over here actually too, right? So this window, if I bring it to the corner and then go away from vanishing point, I think it's at the same height as the other one. I would see this window about the same height as that window on this wall. here, I'm going to go in at a horizontal to show the details of that windowsill. Right? All right, so I have my back wall set up. I have my back row of desks set in. I haven't done too much detail here in these boxes. These are the boxes that the desks were shipped in. And the reason I'm not going to go in and draw any details is because there's other desks overlapping those desks. And if I draw details in there, I'm just going to be erasing them for the desks in front of them. So what I want to do is actually imagine like a sheet of plexiglass laid over top of all the desks in the room at 3 feet. So imagine that at this 3-foot height, there's a panel coming out here into the room, right? So that we can see where all the tops of the desks would be. Up until now, we've always worked with footprints of desks, right? And we're going to keep going on the footprints, but what I want to do is take this line that I've got here and project it on out to the edge of the paper, and this line and bring it out to the edge of the paper. And I'm going to work on this level now. So this is actually going to be where the tops of my desks are up here. I can line all those desks up in rows. These desks are all going to fit into these 2 lines. This row here is going to set up another row of desks, and these are going to come out this way. Look, I'm bending. I better keep that honest. Okay, so now you can kind of see how those rows of desks are going to be, and we're going to be standing in here looking out. I'm going to see the legs of this. I'm going to bring these legs from Vanishing Point out along the floor this way. That's where all the legs are going to hit on this level, and all the tops are going to go horizontally here. And I'm going to draw from these legs out into the room here. So basically in between here and here is the aisle in between the desks where I'm standing to look down the room. Now in the photograph, the desks aren't exactly lined up, but I'm going to ignore that because it's easier for me to make a drawing here with all the desks lined up. Okay, so I'm going to come now and I'm going to use the footprint. I'm going to take this first desk that I drew, and then I'm going to come out just a little bit. I think I'm going to come out to the 6-foot line. I'm going to put the edge of the next desk in. And then I know if I come out here to 12, that's going to be 6 whole feet. So I want to come half again. So I'm going to come half in here, and then I'm going to divide, I'm going to push that back just a little bit. So I'm going back in perspective. So I'm getting like a footprint again of the next table up. I'm going to come up till I hit this, and then I'm going to go horizontal. Every line I make in this drawing is vertical, horizontal, or vanishing point. Back down to my footprint. Now I've got the box for my second desk to sit in. I can take my eraser in here, and I can know I'm not going to draw any detail down below that line on this desktop. If I bring the next desk out, let's actually come out to the 12. Let's space these desks So there's about 3 feet in between them. Let's go halfway between there. Skinny it up a little bit because it's pushed back in the room. Here's a footprint for another desk, and then here's a footprint for a desk out here. I can bring this up to the line, and this up to the line, and this over, and this over. There's the top of my third desk. So I'm not being quite honest about a vertical there. Should look at the edge of my paper each time I draw a vertical line. And my verticals will be a little bit more true. This came up and hit right there. And this one hit right there. This is my fourth desk top. 1, 2, 3, 4. As I go, I'm sort of checking that the end proportion of the box is maintaining this kind of proportion that I want it to have, which is 2 to 3 height to width. This is quite flat. These are quite narrow here, right? Now I need to do one more thing, which is check and make sure that each desk gets a little bit wider than the one before it, right? So maybe I want to take this and say that desk is that wide and this one is about the same width. So I want that to be a little wider. I'm going to move this line out here just a little bit. Right? Because that's one rule of perspective. So I'm going to bump this desk forward a little bit too. Now this desk here feels a little wider than that desk there. I'm going to bring this desk out a little bit closer to here, and I'm going to bring this desk out a little bit further along here. So again, because I'm sketching, I'm changing it just a little bit each time so that I get a better final look. Now I've got this here and here. Those are going to be my legs. If I need to erase a little bit along here so that I get a good solid front box of my desk. I want this guy now to come out this way. And this is going to be the front end. I'm going to keep that. That's all I'm going to draw. This drops down here and here and here, and I'm going to stop when it hits the top of the next desk. It's getting a little narrow there, so I think I'm going to push that a little bit like that. All right, so now I've got 4 desks in one row lined up that way. Everything else lies on the grid. I've already got this row right here. The tops of those desks, I can come horizontally here and say there's going to be a desktop here in that row. I can pull this line across here and say there's going to be a desktop right there. In that row, and then these are going to drop down this way vertically next, right? And this last desk, I'm going to see a little bit of right here. The end of it's going to be the same. So it's a good thing I have this on the floor because I can come across here and know that this is going to end there. Looks like I'm going to see that leg, and this one's going to disappear behind that desk. I'm going to erase the corner of my room so I can draw this desk in here. then I can bring these lines across to this one and this one as well. The desks at the edges are going to get a little bit warped and twisted, we know that. We have sort of a focal viewpoint in the middle where everything works, and it's going to get a little bit distorted outside of that. Drawing these legs down to this line where the feet hit on a vertical. And this should come horizontal and meet that one. These legs should meet where these legs hit. Finding a vertical and a horizontal and a vertical and horizontal so that everything checks out, going to the vertical, the horizontal, and the vanishing point. Then my last row of desks is going to go right here. Okay, so now I have a room full of boxes. In which the desks will be shipped in. I can go in now. Through this week, I'd like you to go in and put some details in there. So the desks have a top, and then each of the legs comes down to the floor. This is going to go off to vanishing point. Show the side of the leg there. This is going to come towards me. Put a line there. Horizontal and up. See three sides of this leg, or two sides of this leg, 3 lines to define 2 sides. There's a little spot here where the drawer sits. This is going off to vanishing point. Everything on this side goes to vanishing point or straight up and down. Everything on this end goes straight up and down or horizontal. Right? A little bit up from the floor, there's a board that goes from here across. So I'm going to see that. Then I'm going to bring those lines up towards the vanishing point. It's got to go steeper than that. So here's the board on the other side. Going to come down. Am I going to see this leg? Yes, it's going to be right there. Come horizontal across here to tell me if I'm going to see that leg or not. Vanishing point. So this board comes across here. Vanishing point connects so I see the top of the board. Down so I see the front of the board. And then here and here, there's boards that come across and connect here and here, and those should be going to vanishing point as well. I'm going to see the top of the boards here and the side of the boards here. Okay, now I've got some nice details on there. There's a ruler that runs across the top of this guy here. All right, and this one over here, I'm going to put a drawer in so that once I get the top of my table drawn in like so, and I've got my top here, there's actually a little drawer that sits, I believe, over on this side right this way. This is going to go off to Vanishing Point, and there's a little handle on that drawer. This is probably drawn a little bit thickly, but this is not lined up with that. What am I doing here? Looks like this desk should be much shorter if it's going to line up with this. Yep, so I need to slide all this stuff up, or I need to bring all this stuff down, so it's going to be, but this jumped like really wide to that, so I think probably what I need to do is shorten this desk here, redraw this leg here, because I want these guys to be correct. Okay, anything I've done once I can do twice, right? This feels a little high. I want to bring that up to this height. So this leg is going to end right there. Vanishing point, flat. It's not going to be as nice because I've got too much erasing, but I'm going to change it because this is my front desk. This is where I want to show my skill and my understanding of these things, so I get a better grade on my homework. This board's going to hit there then and come across. That feels better anyway. When I was drawing that board the first time, I felt like it wasn't quite matching up over there. Here I want to resolve this issue. I've got to come out of there, and then down and out. Vanishing point, vertical, horizontal. Then I'm going to go here and here and connect these boards across here again. This leg's still going to sit right there. There, now my details are better in there. All right, when it comes time to draw stools in here, I'm going to say the stool sits about here at this level, so I'm going to come in between these two, give myself a footprint on the floor. I know there's going to be an ellipse right here. I'm going to come up to about this height to say that's the top of my stool, so I'm going to have an ellipse. I'm drawing a conical shape here and here, so I understand there's an ellipse here on the floor, there's an ellipse up here. There's also an ellipse about a third of the way up where that foot rung sits. I'm connecting my feet to this side of the ellipse and this side of the ellipse. I'm putting a little smile down here for an elliptical bottom since these are round. Pipes here, this, it's going to have a little smile on the bottom of it and connect down here. I'm going to go across towards Vanishing Point. I'm going to see the last foot connect here on this ellipse, across the ellipse, and across this ellipse right there. So this last leg is going to do that. Then I'm going to take this side of the leg and I'm going to go towards vanishing point. I'm going to take that side of the leg and go towards the vanishing point. If I come along the middles of each of these and project a line here, here, and here, then I take the top of the stool, I can say the top of the stool is going to sit here, and here, and here, as they all go back to vanishing point. So I'm going to have a stool right here, and a stool right here. Each one needs to get a little bigger as it comes out towards me. Maybe get a center line drawn and a bottom ellipse so I understand the floor. There's one back there. Of course, I'm losing some detail as I go back. But getting more accurate detail as I think about it up here. These drawers and tops are all going to line up on their way to vanishing point. Like so. If I want to tilt one of these desks up, then I would just take this point here and this point here and realize the desk is going to tilt this way, right? So if this line comes up this way, and this line goes parallel to that, there's here a little thing that connects. Here's the side of that. This end goes towards vanishing point again, right? So I need to check that and make this side a little longer. Because if this end goes to vanishing point, the opposite end goes to vanishing point as well. And the ruler on that desk goes to vanishing point. And then inside of here, I've got the structure that'll hold that when it comes down and lands flat. And I can get some details drawn onto that desk. That'll help people see and understand what's going on there as well. Looks like that board should actually be over here more. I want to change that. Looks like I'm not going to see what happens behind there. Okay, so that's your 1 point.